Hey, it's Matt from Gravity. Today we're going to build a website for a brewery, a food truck, a restaurant, really anyone who's using Square for payments in their in-person business, right? So I often go to breweries. I always see the Square payment hardware. I see it when they have tablets at local events or food trucks. And quite often, as a business owner in that space, or if you're somebody consulting a business owner in that space, they don't always have a website that has enough going on for it, right? They're so busy running the business, and largely all their sales come from an in-person event, that oftentimes the website and the potential of getting more revenue and capturing a newsletter often goes under the radar. And that's what we're going to try to cover today. We're going to start from scratch. There's going to be a fairly comprehensive video. We're going to move fairly quickly. There's a lot here. What you see on the screen is a essentially blank, fresh install of a WordPress website. We're going to turn this into a brewery website through the help of a handful of plugins, just a handful. Gravity Forms, of course, the Square add-on for Gravity Forms, the MailChimp add-on for Gravity Forms for that newsletter. And then I'm going to use another plugin called Instant Images, which pulls from Unsplash to pull images in. I get a little assist from ChatGPT along the way as well. Okay, let's get right into the thick of things. We have our WordPress website. It is running the 2025 theme. I'm using this theme on purpose because it is the default theme that comes with WordPress, and it is by default going to be installed largely wherever you're hosting your WordPress website. It's free. It comes with WordPress. I will say, however, it's probably not the best website for small businesses, but we will use it because many of you will have it in your WordPress website when you kick things off for the first time. Let's go into the back end of this site. We do have Gravity Forms already installed. I will say that you need the Pro license plan to get the Square add-on so that we can create what we're going to create today is like a merch kind of page where you can maybe come and buy a couple of t-shirts or maybe a annual beer club membership or something like that. This is just another way for you to think outside of the box or to help your clients think outside of the box and get some payments and accept some revenue on your website for your brewery. So that's what we're going to do. And we're going to set up the newsletter page to capture emails to build that marketing funnel. We'll create a contact page and we'll kind of put it all together, right? Okay, we have Gravity Forms installed. First thing we'll do is go to the add-on section and we'll install and activate Square. So click on Install, activate the plugin. We go back and we're going to also add the MailChimp add-on because we'll need that as well. Install, activate. So this is the list. This is the list of plugins we're using for at least this demonstration, setting up our brewery website. Gravity Forms, the MailChimp add-on, the Square add-on, and Instant Images. And Instant Images is just a quick way to get some stock photography into our website. So if you're consulting with somebody and you want to build them like a placeholder page or an example page, this is a great plug-in to do that, to pull these images in, at least for a temporary holding position, right? So let's search for brewery. Okay, so let's grab this one. All you have to do is click, and this will add it to your media library. So I'm just going to go and just grab a bunch because as we go out and build this website, what you'll see is the look and feel of a WordPress theme, any WordPress theme really, it's not just 2025, will drastically shift based on the photography, right? Okay, so we added a bunch there. We're going to sell let's just call it an annual membership to a beer club for that extra revenue. This could be gift cards, this could be t-shirts, hats, whatever. But let's just say annual membership for a beer club just to make it fun. So let's go calendar. I don't like any of those. Let's go membership. I could use that card. Let's go with a card. We could use a square. Let's go with the card. just because it kind of fits that a little bit more. You'll see this all come together as we go about it. Okay, we have our media installed or uploaded. This will just give us a nice sort of box that we can dip into to pull out some stock photography. What we'll want to do next is add in a home page. So close that. We'll call this home. And we're just going to publish it just so we can see it as an example. This is going to pop up inside of WordPress to choose a pattern. We're going to hold off on that, close that for now. And we're going to view the page. So you can see right here, this is going to be our home page, and there's no design. There's largely no design with 2025, but we're going to add that in as we go. So let's edit the page. We're going to add something called a page pattern, which is what's popping up here. But I'm going to close this just so you know where you can find it. So inside of the pattern library, we'll go patterns, pages. These are the same pages that you just saw pop up, but I want to let you know where they are. And we're going to put this business homepage template in. It's not the best. As I said, you can use this video as a backdrop to any WordPress theme that you're going to select. I'm really talking about the high-level overview of building this site, why these pages are important, how you can use gravity forms, how you can add revenue and marketing to your brewery or restaurant website, and how to like put the pieces of the puzzle together. It's not about like a pixel perfect design. Most themes you're gonna achieve what we're doing today in most proper WordPress themes. Okay, let's get this out of the way just so we can see the page. And I don't want all of this stuff. Like we don't need a pricing page. Everything else might be able to stay here. So let's just get rid of probably just this pricing section. I'm going to pull up the list view. I always find it easier to navigate with the list view. So let's just delete this section. We don't need the pricing section. Everything else we're going to keep the same, right? So let's save this without touching anything. View this so you can kind of see where we're headed. So here's our site. Now the homepage looks a lot different, right? We have our pattern in there. We're going to swap some of this stuff out. Let's go to dashboard. What we need to do is promote our new homepage to the actual, even though it says homepage, it's not the homepage just yet. A little confusing, I know. So we need to go to reading or settings, then reading, assign a static page, homepage, and we'll save that. Now that page will always load when we get to the homepage. Let's do a few other pieces of housekeeping and go to appearance editor. I'm gonna use Command K. I use Command K quite often to navigate the back end here, and we're gonna go to template parts. This gets a little bit more technical if you're brand new to WordPress, but there's the concept of templates, patterns, blocks, template parts inside of WordPress. 99% of the time for most of us, when we're dealing with template parts, we're dealing with the header template part and the footer template part. And basically what these are, you can think of this as like placeholders for the template. So the header and the footer will always be the same, and then you can swap in and out that interior pattern, right? Or template like we did for the homepage. You can make other templates for different pages if you wanted to. And the whole point of the template parts is the header and the footer could remain the same throughout the entire site. Okay? A little complicated, but we'll get through it. I'm going to click on this footer. And we're just going to clean this up. We're just going to get rid of this stuff on the right-hand side. Largely, we're not going to need it. It's a super simple site. And I'm just doing this to demonstrate ways that you can really affect the look and feel of the site by kind of getting rid of even some of the predefined stuff that this template ships with. Okay, so it's just called Square Site. This is my demo site, but let's use ChatGPT to help us come up with some names. So come up with some fun brewery names for a brewery in Southern Mass. And again, if you're a freelancer, consultant, again, I'm not saying you rely heavily on this stuff, but you can use it for ideation, for some placeholder content. It's going to give us a bunch of names here. Let's go with some interesting ones. Let's go Saltwater Brewing Co. Select it, copy that. Bring this back. We're going to modify this Square site to call it Saltwater Brewing Co. And that's actually going to change the site title across the entire site because this is the site title block. So that's going to change also in the header, which is really cool. And we're going to ask, I like Saltwater Brewing Co. Please come up with a fun byline. Brewed by the coast, crafted for the soul. I'm in. Paste that in there. So now that just helps you kind of think about filling out content, especially if you're working with clients, right? Brewed by the coast, crafted for the soul, Saltwater Brewing Co. I like it. Let's save it. And let's see where we're at. So let's go back, Command K, view the site, just so you can see how things have changed. Saltwater Brewing Co., the site title at the top has changed, and also down in the bottom. And we've removed a bunch of all of the other menu items that were there. There were far too many pages there, and they were just placeholder pages anyway. You'd have to go and remove those anyway. So we have ourselves a very simple footer. Okay, let's get into swapping out these images on the home page. And actually, before we do that, you'll notice that the home page title is still displaying. We want to get rid of that. I'm going to add a little bit of a layer of confusion here, but inside the page editor, if you go to template, click on that, you can swap the template. There is only one template that ships with 2025 as of this recording. It's called page no title, and we'll select that, and we will save and view the home page one more time. And now the home page title is no longer there, right? And you can use the no title template across your entire site. If you didn't want to have your page title to be displayed, you can always swap to the page no title template across any page on your site. So let's go ahead and start replacing this media. So we already have it in the media library. We grabbed a bunch of these. So let's just go through and replace these. We're just going to go through and add this stuff, and you can kind of already see everything's starting to take shape. This section is like for a testimonial. This one's fine. And then no other images there. Okay, so we'll save that. Again, everything looks the same. I always have to look at the front pages just to see things. But you can see, like, we're starting to take shape, starting to feel like a brewery site. Doesn't feel like that more like photo-driven or artsy kind of feel that it just had. And by swapping the photos, we're already one step ahead. Okay, so let's go ahead and consult ChatGPT one more time. Come up with a fun beer name and byline announcing its latest release. So what we're going to do is replace this call to action. These call to actions are important, of course. I'm leaving this here because what we want to do is shift this to like either selling your merchandise or joining the beer club or something like that. So we'll come up with a fun little title, and we'll start populating new copy across the site. So we'll say new release, Tide's Turn IPA, and copy that. Let's close this tab. Paste the byline. The byline is catch the wave, a bold hoppy surge of flavor. What a great job, ChatGPT. really making me want that, right? So now what we'll say is, just in our concept of like selling stuff on our site, we'll say beer club members get it first. And that'll be the call to action to get to our beer club, which we're going to set up by selling the beer club, annual beer club membership through Square. Okay, we'll get there in a moment. Let's continue. Write a fun one paragraph about us section. Copy that. We're not even going to read it because that would make this video even longer than it's already going to be. We're going to paste that in, and a little paragraph break. Actually, just to keep things, you probably want to pare that down and not make it so wordy. we can do something like that. So now we have a nice little About Us section. And instead of our services, we'll say what we offer. Of course, beer, tours, beer club. And we'll have a annual beer club. Can you recommend some fun names for it? So let's get some of that. I like this one already. The Brew Crew. It's probably 15,000 other brew crews out there, but let's go ahead and put that in there, the Brew Crew. And we'll just clean up this section here. We're not going to add any supportive text. And we have our testimonial. I need a fun testimonial from a potential customer. This one's pretty long, but let's just see where that ends. And we'll say right here, I just joined the club. So we'll go and put that in this little section. And this is way too long, so we'll just cut that down to this. But hopefully, effectively, you can see how we're going through, we're modifying a template. We're not really thinking about the layout. We let the pattern do that for us. You know, we're not adjusting margins or anything like that. We're not doing anything with background colors. Not yet. I am going to show you that in a moment, but just going through, replacing copy, replacing images, and it's really starting to feel like a legit site. Now I need a call to action title for our newsletter. Come up with a fun call to action and a supporting byline. Okay. I don't really love it, but we'll use that for our call to action in the newsletter section. I'll get rid of that. That was just a little too long. Okay, so in, I don't know, 5 or 10 minutes, we've created this homepage and drastically changed the way 2025 looks and feels by default. Now, last thing we'll do for design is close these tabs, go back to the dashboard. What we can do is go to the editor and go to the style book. And inside of the 2025 theme, they have a collection of styles. It's really, if you start from the bottom and work your way up, it's typography, it's color palettes, and that combines into styles. I think some of these buttons might adjust a little bit and some other minor styling, but largely layout and feel stays the same. So we can just cycle through these and find the one that we think fits a little bit better of the vibe for a brewery. This one's kind of cool, pretty bold. This one is probably the one we'll go with, right? This one looks, it's called Morning, looks a little bit more modern, and that's certainly not. But you could play with the styles that you're effectively looking for. You can change color palettes, see if there's one that fits it. But I like the default one. You could change the typography there if you wanted to as well. So again, in just 5 to 10 minutes, we've launched ourselves a mock brewery company right here in Southern Massachusetts. A really fun way to kind of build out these example sites for you or your client, or if you're literally trying to build a brewery, this might have given you some ideas. Okay, now we'll go into the more technical stuff, and that's setting up Gravity forms and all of the functionality for contact form, Square payments for our annual beer club or beer membership, and then the newsletter. So let's go to the back end. We're going to do the easy one first. Let's start with new form. And we're going to create a simple contact form. Use the template. And I'm not going to touch anything here. I'm just going to leave this as is. Simple contact form. Largely don't need more than this for a basic contact form. We'll click on embed. We'll add to a new page. Call it contact. Create that page. This will put the Gravity form right inside. And the only thing we probably want to do is not hide the title and the description. And you could spruce up the contact page a little bit more by going to patterns. There are some contact patterns here. You might want to do something like this just to make it look a little bit more and kind of adopt some like that design language they have made for us in the 2025 theme. You know, you could link up your social media sites. Got questions, feel free to reach out. This actually links to supposed to link to an email address, but you can unlink that and kind of just assume that reaching out is either through social or through this contact form. We'll publish it. We'll look at it, even though it's going to look exactly the same as we see here. But now you can see in our site, here's our contact page. Now we'll go back to the dashboard. We'll start working on the Square stuff right now. So let's go and add a form. Or excuse me, the first thing we're going to need to do is go to Forms Settings and configure our Square account. So I'm already logged in to my Square account. I'm going to switch this to sandbox mode so that we can actually test a transaction. Highly recommend that if you're, developing your first site on Square, working with a client, starting all your test stuff in sandbox. It's pretty self-explanatory. And effectively what that'll let you do is just run a fake credit card so that you can actually test the transactions and make sure everything's working before you switch to live. And especially if you already have a Square account and you're doing transactions in the storefront, you don't want to start mixing in test data, your live site through a site that you're still building out, right? So let's connect with Square. Okay, so now we're connected to Square. We'll save settings. I'm already logged into the Square account in the Sandbox dashboard, so I didn't have to re-log in to show that off. If you're not logged in, you'll probably have to log in for that to take effect. So we'll go to Forms, Add New. We'll call this Annual Beer Club. Create the blank form. We'll keep this pretty simple, but this could get as complicated as you need it to be, like depending on what information you want to take in, any kind of other sort of data like marketing information you want to gather, but we'll keep it really simple. So go name, email, and then the product will be the actual annual payment field. And we're just going to leave it just this simple. That way it's easier to test and to demonstrate. So name, email, and the product field. So first we'll go required on the name, required on the email. And then on the product field, we'll switch this to let's go just so we can have it as an example. We'll go edit choices. We'll go Beer Club, and let's say that's $50 for the year. We'll go VIP Club. Let's pretend like these folks get private tastings throughout the year. They get access to beers first, and that's $100. So giving yourself some options here. I'm just like spitballing this stuff, but Beer Club for $50 a year, the VIP Club for $100. Maybe you get discounts off of tickets or something like that. Let's go ahead and make this required too. Save that form. So that'll be our product. Oops. Actually, let's add the labels there. So let's go Beer Club is 50. And the VIP is 100. So now that way we see those in the labels. And now we'll bring in the Square field. Put that right below it. It's going to tell us we need to set up a feed. I'm going to show that in a second, but let's save the form. And we can add in one more. We can do total. That way, if you added other stuff in the future, or maybe there was like multiple things you could buy, that total will appear there. So just a little bit of good practice right there. So basic form, name, email, product, total, and then this is going to ship off to the Square credit card. But first, let's set up that Square feed. So click on Square feed. So we connected it to Square, but feeds are for forms individually, right? To send data from a form to our integration. In this case, it's Square. It's also going to be MailChimp when I show you how to set that up. But you would set up these feeds for each form, because you could have dozens of forms selling stuff to Square. It's really just like this little communication to say, hey, take this data from this form, and in this case, send it to Square. That's as simple as I can put it. So let's create one. For housekeeping, we'll just call it Beer Club. Doesn't really matter. It's just for your own edification. Transaction type, this is going to be a subscription, right? Because it's going to be an annual thing. And the product field, I didn't name it, but it's product name. We can go back and change that, but its product name is the product, and it's going to be every year for infinity billing cycles or until the person cancels, right? So this is an annual subscription that somebody's buying. Email, first and last name already assigned. So those are the three essentials that you need: email, first name, last name, selecting what this subscription looks like. If you were selling a t-shirt, it would have been a product, and it would have just been a product. Like if you were selling, let's say, a t-shirt using Gravity Forms, you just wouldn't have a billing cycle. Okay, so let's save the settings. Let's go back to our Gravity form. And now you can see the credit card fields are there because we have our feed set up. Let's go ahead and put this on a page. Embed, create new page. We'll call this Beer Club. Create. I'm going to do the same thing. We're going to edit this block. We're going to get rid of the title and the description. But also I'm going to just show you how we can customize the design of this form just a little bit. We're going to go to large on the input size. Label sizes we're going to bump up to 18. Font sizes to 15. And then that button, we're going to just match our theme to that color there. And that's it. So we're going to just publish this, and we'll take a look at it. I'll explain it in a moment. View the page. So there's our Beer Club. We made the fonts just a little bit bigger. That way, we're sure that whoever's looking at the page won't get lost, especially if they're on mobile. If you're selling this out in the field or something like that, want to make sure that it's designed and as easy as possible. So we'll go put my name in. We'll pick the VIP club for 100. It says this page is unsecured. Do not enter real credit card, because we're in testing purposes only. It's just giving you that warning. Plus, I'm doing this locally, so there's no SL certificate here. And then we're just going to put in the placeholder virtual credit card, which is basically 4 and then all ones, and then any expiration date in the future of where we're at today, and then any CVV number. Doesn't really matter. Zip code, and then we'll submit this. This will take a second. This will communicate out to Square. This will make that payment in Square. It says, thanks for contacting us. We'll be in touch shortly. We're going to change that confirmation message in a moment. I'm going to give Square a second to reflect that transaction. Just to see if we got it through. I don't think it's under orders. Sorry, it's under transactions. So there it is. Invoice 1, Beer Club for $100 every year subscription. When you click on that, this will show you the information of that payment. And it says $96.80 transferred because of the fees and transaction fees. So that instantly put that transaction right into our Square account. And again, this is just a Beer Club. This could be a t-shirt. This could be something else, some other item that you're selling with Gravity Forms and your Square account. The idea here is to just give you a frame of reference that you can do more with Square than just selling stuff at your point of sale, especially connected up to your WordPress website. So we probably want to just change this confirmation message. This is the default one. So let's go to Forms, Annual Beer Club. settings, and confirmation. Edit this. Thanks for joining the beer club. Look for an email for more information. So this is going to change that default message. You could do a lot more with this. I mean, if you're doing more with your membership, you could have special content that displays here that only members see. You could be sending them an email with a thank you gift. I mean, it really depends on how you structure it, but I'm just going to show you that, like, change that confirmation message out, because you're not going to contact them about something else. You want to like make this more of a feeling like, oh, okay, I just entered the club, like here's the next steps. You could put instructions here or whatever you want, embed a video, totally up to you. So we'll just save that confirmation. Let's move on to setting up the MailChimp and creating ourselves a newsletter landing page. So go new form. We will do newsletter sign up form, newsletter. Just going to leave this, again, as it is. There's this little field here that you can delete. It's basically saying, hey, you're going to have to set up an email add-on so that this actually captures an email and sends it to an email provider. So let's delete that. I'm talking about MailChimp here in this video. You could use one of our many email providers. MailChimp is one of our more popular ones. And let's go ahead and connect to MailChimp. Effectively doing the same thing. We're going to allow the access. And now we're connected to our MailChimp account. Back to the form. Newsletter, MailChimp. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to create that feed just like we did for Square. And again, that's going to take the data from this form, send it to MailChimp when somebody submits it. Email address, the most basic thing we need to do is send that to an email address. Save. Okay, so now this is ready to go. It's communicating to MailChimp, sending our email to our newsletter. And let's embed this on a new page called newsletter. And we're going to do the same thing. Remove the title, remove the description, font size 18, description size 15, input size large, publish this page, and view the page. So now we have a newsletter landing page, and we'll tie this all together by adding all of these new pages to our navigation. Because as you can see right now, like we go to our homepage, and we'll link these up too. We'll go to our homepage, and it just still has some default pages in our navigation. We want to get rid of that. Okay. First, though, let's go ahead and link up the beer club. So let's search for beer club page. Add that to our primary navigation, and the subscribe to our newsletter. Those are our pages that we just created. And it looks pretty good on mobile too, right? So if we switch to mobile view, it's not bad for something that we've, built in roughly 25, 30 minutes. Let's go ahead and modify that navigation, appearance editor. And we'll go template parts. Header. Just find it easier to use the list view, grab this stuff down to the navigation. And let's add in page link, newsletter, page link, beer club, page link. We don't need this one, so we'll remove that. We don't need frequently asked questions. We'll remove that. I didn't make an about page, but if you did, maybe you'll leave that there. And we'll leave newsletter, beer club, and contact up there. Save. View the site. Now we have our new navigation up top with newsletter, beer club, sign up, and contact. Now we're in business. We have 3 different, business data inputs, right? We have our contact page, right? Simple contact form. People want to reach out to you. They have questions about the brewery. They want to schedule events, that kind of thing. We have the beer club where people can sign up to that annual beer club, add some revenue to your brewery or eatery business, and then the newsletter for the marketing side. And all of this stuff is powered by Gravity Forms. We go from like really basic with the contact form to middle of the road with the newsletter, like we're building a newsletter list. And then on that higher end, we're driving revenue with Gravity Forms through the beer club connected up to your Square account where you're watching these transactions come in. And we're seeing, our revenues go up with new ideas and new ways to sell our stuff. We started with just a free theme. The 2025 theme ships with WordPress by default. We didn't do anything super fancy. We just used their homepage business template, modified that with some copy and some images. A lot of copy ideas from ChatGPT, of course, helping us name our brewery, Saltwater Brewing Co. A lot of the call to action and content came from some ideation with ChatGPT, and then we used Unsplash for these images. I'm not saying you ship this as a live site, but it's certainly a great way to, build and ideate and create these temporary sites. So if you're working with clients, you can kind of show off what you can build in very little time. But if you are somebody who's running a brewery, using Square to sell your own merchandise or your own foods, services stuff, this is a great way to get those wheels turning on getting your WordPress website online, powered with Gravity Forms, with Square, and in this case, MailChimp, to start getting the marketing and revenues going with your own online presence and not just relying on the in-person stuff all the time. So gravityforms.com, check it out. To get the Square add-on, you need the pro level license. MailChimp or many of our other email providers are on various levels, but at least for the Square stuff, you need that pro license. Gravityforms.com. Check it out. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. Thumbs up if you like the video. Subscribe to the channel if you want more. Pretty lengthy video, but hopefully comprehensive and gets the wheels turning for you to build your WordPress website powered by Gravity Forms.